Welcome today to the podcast of Cosmo and Rivka called HNB Conversations.
Welcome to a special HNB
Happy
conversation.
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
We're doing it different. We're doing it different.
That's right. Yeah, so this is the Hanukkah week. Not that the questions will be Hanukkah focused, but it is Hanukkah.
Who knows?
So
Who knows if maybe we will get one.
They might be.
Maybe like, how does Rivka feel every time the Greeks are so absolutely made the bad guy, which they were.
I've actually had people ask me this question, and it's an honest question. It's a fair question. What's the right way to spell Hanukkah? Do you spell it Hanukkah, or do you spell it Chanukkah?
I like the H.
Now, that's the prettier one. Don't know why there are two Ks in it, right? It doesn't make sense to transliterate it that way.
They've always got to be special. We've always got to be special.
I think someone asked Giovanni one time. Someone asked Giovanni, it was a pastor at a church, was like, okay, oh yeah, you don't have to say where it was.
It was a Bible school.
Oh, it
was a Bible school.
So
Bible school,
when
or
he was in Bible college.
Oh, okay.
But someone said, so what's the difference between Hanukkah and Chanukah? And then it was a serious question.
Did he at first he probably didn't know, wait, what?
Oh, I'm sure Giovanni was very gracious. He would have been.
He had to have laughed, though. Giovanni could not have laughed.
Well,
he'd been like, "Oh my gosh, no!"
It was enough that he came home and shared the story.
Yeah, no, it's the same.
I think it was a little surprising for him.
I thought for sure it was going to be like Chanukah, but Chanukah,
right.
That's a new one.
But even so, the opening letter of Hanukkah is a chet, right? So that's
it's also
why
a het.
It's not a het. It's
no,
a
but
chet.
it can look the same. Just
it
like
looks the same. The little
So there's not a vowel when you write and print.
Right.
There are no vowels.
Right.
Or when you read as well. Nobody uses vowels.
Correct.
Just that's why my name in Hebrew is Rivka, and in English it's Rebecca.
Correct.
Right.
But I'm saying, that opening letter is actually a h, not a h, and so that's why it's
Chanukah.
correctly the one that looks like Chanukah would be the more correct transliteration with the single K at the back end. But it's just not as pretty. It doesn't look as nice.
Well, I mean, I guess everybody has their own opinion. Some people probably feel like the CH makes it more Jewish looking because it's the H, the C and the H. And then other people, like myself, I like how the H looks when it's just like written pretty in cursive with the whole word.
I think actually my issue sometimes with the CH transliteration is that we have a ch sound that goes with that in English. So I like to transliterate because it's just depending. There's no correct transliteration.
You like that word, transliteration. I know what it means.
Okay, in case someone doesn't. The difference between translation is you're saying this is what this word means. Transliteration is when you're taking it from another language and you're sounding it out in your language. So it doesn't have to, there can be a number of varieties of how that sound out looks. And so a lot of times for my own purposes, I will transliterate the chet as a KH, just so that you get that sense that it's a k and there's no confusion with the CH. So, not that matters, but happy Hanukkah.
Yes, happy Hanukkah.
There you go. Okay.
Alrighty. Oh, I have to do my, do you know where the bathroom is? So yes. I chose German for this week, and I know I'm going to butcher this. It doesn't seem like it would be so hard.
It actually just sounds like someone saying, "Where's the toilet?" with a thick accent.
Really?
It does.
Okay, so it's Wo ist die... No, see, I totally messed up.
You're right.
Wo ist die Toilette?
Where is the toilet?
That's racist.
It is not.
I know.
Where is the toilet?
Thank you, Antonio. I'm having a conversation. We're joking. I'm joking around because the kids always go, "That's racist." They're always. It doesn't matter what we're doing.
You make any,
I'm like, I think I'll just take my coffee black. Mom, that's racist. Anyway, but it's Wo ist die Toilette? Like that. Mm-hmm. And this is how it sounds. Wait, my thing's turned down. Never mind. I turned my phone all the way down because I don't. Okay. It's not playing.
Not working again?
It's not working again.
I don't know.
Darn thing. Okay. Anyway, so I was going to do you know how I talked about Greece and like how it worked there, right? Like we kind of invented it and all that kind of stuff.
The toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. De toiletta. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to look up how all that works in Germany, and I will say that I do not think that that is anything that anyone wants to hear on a podcast. And so if you're interested, I think you can go Google the German toilet system.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. It's very intentional. Yeah, and I really could have gone the rest of my life not knowing.
That's okay.
However, I
now.
will say, should I ever have the privilege of going to Germany, because Germany, from what I understand, is seriously gorgeous.
You have had the privilege of going to Germany.
I said, should I ever in the future? I understand that I had the opportunity as a teenager and I was stupid. But anyway, that's not what I'm trying to talk about. What I'm saying is if that ever were to come again, I think that I would like the heads up. I don't think people give people a heads up when they're going to Germany and they engage the German bathroom system.
Wait a minute. You're saying you're not talking about the origin. You're saying it's a different system now?
Yeah. No, it's still that way there now. I think it's that way there and maybe like in Poland. But just like how we drive on one side of the road and the rest of the world drives on the other side of the road for the most part, it's like that. It's very much like that.
You have my curiosity.
I mean,
piqued.
I'm just saying, it is what
I can't begin to fathom what in the world you're talking about.
It is what I learned. I can tell you that in the diagrams that I saw, the individual that's like, the person who's on the sign, it's like the triangle, the round head or whatever. That person, when they were using the toiletta wrong, had their hat on backwards. And when they were using it correctly, the hat was on forward. So I'm getting the feeling like that's a big problem in Germany.
Do they
to wear your hat backwards? I mean, because
I'm just so curious.
You're so curious.
You
have to look it up. You have to look it up.
They don't like sit on it like a backward chair, do they?
I'm not saying anything because we will get into this as a conversation and I don't want to have it. I don't want to. So everybody right now, if you're listening, just pick up your phone and you can Google, the German toilet system or how Germans bathrooms or just look up where's the bathroom in German, and it's like directly under there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. It's very intentional, and who knows, maybe it's better. I don't know.
It's interesting,
but it's different.
Because we tend to think our way is normal. Whatever we do is the base of normal. And then anything else is weird.
Well, yeah.
And with particular things surrounding those kinds of habits, anything outside of what we know seems strange. So that I'm just...
Well, sure, because if it's not normal, then we feel like it's strange. I will say that in the past, lately, I think people, because of the internet, where it's a smaller world, I did not know about Germany. But it is
And we have German friends.
We do. But that's what I'm saying. Nobody talks about this.
Why didn't you tell us
Everybody should have a heads up.
You should have told us.
If you know somebody going to Germany, give them a heads up.
I still don't know, actually. But you should have told us. I'm just saying.
What I was going to say was, what was I talking about?
How it's a small world.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, no. So I was saying...
More people know things now. We're more accustomed to.
Oh yeah,
being,
right. So in the past, though, Americans
others.
did not know what bidets were.
Oh yeah.
And they used to just. I remember going overseas and my friends being like, "Is this a foot bath? Is this what you wash your feet in?"
Yeah.
Which honestly, if that's what you used it for, that's a fabulous thing to use it for. Because people's feet, like wearing flip flops and all that, get so dirty. That'd be a great foot wash. Yeah.
Okay.
If you just used it for foot washing.
Yeah. I think we're good. I think we're good to move on to a question.
All right. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Okay.
Right,
We're not going to let the
wheel.
Greeks tell us how to do
Spinning
it.
the wheel.
I'll tell a tale.
Yeah, you say so many people don't even know.
Of Maccabees in Israel.
Okay. You love.
When the Greeks tried to sail.
Okay.
Do you want to hear the question?
Yeah, I
All
really
right.
do. Yeah.
If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
I feel like we've had this question before.
It's pizza.
We could have. We're on episode 35, but this is a new submission.
It's
so.
pizza for you.
It's pizza. I don't even. It's pizza.
Okay.
I mean, if I had to choose one for that, that's all I got for the rest of my life. One meal.
Yeah, I guess because you can eat it so many different ways. You could pretend it's a sandwich. You could eat it as like
Pick the top off.
What?
You could take the top off and just eat it.
Why do you say off?
I didn't say off.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
You said the top off.
You say, yeah, right. So in every other way you speak like normal English.
Some words you just have a
like
little
hot
bit of an
dog
accent.
or take the top off. Like I'm curious. Like, why do you do that?
Pizza. I don't know.
Well, so cheese pizza would be your
pizza, just pizza. Yeah.
okay, but if you had to pick a certain kind of pizza, you have to.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say I have to pick a certain kind of pizza, but okay, cheese pizza or veggie pizza.
I would do veggie pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get your protein in your cheese. You don't need it in the fat. I mean, no, in the meat.
I'd probably do like a supreme pizza, which has like sausage and pepperoni and vegetables and.
Yeah, but that's just not healthy for you. If you ate that every day of your life would really end short. But if you do a veggie pizza, you're going to live a long time.
If you
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The meat only adds like.
No, the meat has like if you have pepperoni and sausage on your pizza versus just the cheese with the vegetables, who's living longer?
The dough is probably and the cheese are probably the worst part for you on the whole.
Would you go with a New York style or would you go with a Chicago
I'm sorry, but
style?
sausage and pepperoni are not like healthy for you.
I would go with a New York style pizza.
But otherwise, you're talking about having a pizza with very little protein.
No. First of all, you get a lot of protein in cheese. You get protein, a little bit of protein in almost everything you eat. The vegetables will have protein, the cheese will have protein, and it has dairy. The vegetables are also in the place of the sauce. And then you have different kinds of vegetables, and so those will have different things like vitamin C.
Pizza is the most
A,
well-rounded
and then
food
you have the bread
in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty versatile. I guess I would have to go with that. Otherwise, I'd have to put way too much thought into it.
Well, no, you got to give something different. You can't take my answer.
What?
No, pizzas. I've taken it
For the sake of
I said it quickly.
Entertainment.
So I win pizza.
Okay, you win.
Dibs on pizza.
Fine. Gosh, then
Tuna?
What?
She hates
What
fish.
kind of a person would ever want tuna
She's
for
a
the
Greek
rest
who hates
of
fish.
their life? That's because they are my friends. I do not eat my friends.
Fish are friends.
Not food.
Not food.
Let's see. Gosh, man. I mean, I just went through all the reasons why
Pick
pizza's
something
like
from- Okay,
good food for you.
what
I
would you-
didn't think I was defending you. I thought I was defending my choice of food.
But pick something else.
Okay, tacos.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
Great answer.
Tacos. I love tacos.
Hard shell or soft shell? Just asking for like personal preference.
Honestly, it just depends on what kind of a mood I'm in.
Crunch.
A lot of the time, I love the corn crunchy taco, and then other times I really like a soft taco.
I will choose the hard.
I prefer like a street style.
I will choose the hard
You're
taco.
such a food snob sometimes.
No.
No, that just sounded funny the way you
Ooh,
said
take
that.
a
You're like,
street
I would just have a street taco.
Like a street style, so it's like a smaller taco, generally on like a corn tortilla. I prefer flour, but I like the flavor combination.
You can get a gordita that has both.
A chalupa. You name off all the Taco Bell stuff. I'm there. No, I'd go crunchy taco 100% of the time.
Yeah, I just sometimes.
Tacos are like the messiest food.
That's what I was going to say. Sometimes, like if that's all I could eat for the rest of my life, there would be situations that I wouldn't want to have to chow down on a crunchy taco because it would be like falling all over the
Well, here's
place
the
and
deal.
everything.
Crunchy tacos are a
You
food
would-
that should not be
with-
eaten in front of anyone else.
Neither should corn on the cob. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, hold on a second though. See, here's my, and that's fine because I'm not choosing tacos. But if I were choosing tacos, I would choose the crunchy tacos because to go the rest of my life without a crunch, that's disappointing. I could leave the crunchy taco, let it sit long enough, it'll get soggy.
That's just soggy. That's gross.
And then just like a wrapped tortilla.
No. A tortilla is not soggy.
There should be like a crispiness on your meat. Like it should be browned and have a little bit of a crisp or crunch on the meat.
Or at least the tomatoes
That's weird.
and the
No,
lettuce.
it's not. When you cook meat, you want it to like get a brown.
What about the lettuce?
You want to sear it.
I would
Searing
expect.
you could argue searing has like a small.
Yeah, but
bit
I
of
would
crunch to it.
expect. I would
Not a
expect.
crunch, but yeah. Sorry.
I would expect that that you'd get more of a crunch from a nice fresh, diced tomato, or lettuce, sliced
I
lettuce
think
on there.
if you think I'm getting a
meat.
crunch from a diced tomato, then we have a different definition of crunch.
No, but I mean like it's like a burst of flavor in your mouth. It's like
for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm
okay. What
talking
about the lettuce though?
Well, the lettuce isn't. No, I'm not going for. I'm not like.
How hard are the
I don't-
tacos
I
that you
don't-
eat?
I don't think lettuce should be on tacos.
Well, you need to back up.
You know what though? The harder the okay.
No, but a crunch, a nice crispy crunch. I don't
Yeah,
want.
that's fine.
I don't
too
find
like.
the crunch of a hard shell taco very satisfying.
I too find that I enjoy a hard shell taco, but that was not the question. The question was, what would you eat for the rest of your life? So I can have any kind of taco, like as long as it's a taco in my world. I can have.
Well, then
I
why
can
did
have
we
it
limit
because
meat?
that
You
was
made-
your world.
no,
That
but-
was the
no,
world
but
we were
you
talking
made-
about
limited
for
meat.
you.
made
Those
Dad
were the
pick-
rules.
You made Dad pick toppings.
That's right, and you agreed to those rules. You agreed to those
I did not
rules.
agree. I think if we rewind, which we're not going
Rewind?
to,
What are you,
I think there was
80?
a slight. No, I think. Hold on. Okay, everyone listening under 80. Everyone under 80 that's listening.
No, okay,
Have
let's
you
keep talking.
forsaken the word rewind? Is it only of the ancient world? Have we stopped
Think about
using-
how old we are.
Wait a minute. You mocked me for saying rewind as
I
though
didn't mock you. I
No,
asked you a
it's still
very, very genuine question.
What
Oh,
am
yeah,
I,
for sure.
80?
Genuine.
I couldn't remember for a moment.
So
she forgot your age.
I'm simply saying,
Well,
if,
it's a number.
if we, how would you describe going backward on the podcast to listen again?
If we go back.
Yeah,
You
you
back
could
it up
say
if
but
you go
rewind
back.
is still it's a perfect.
Yes.
So if we were to, I think you would hear a slight protest on my part to having been limited to toppings, but I went along with it. But I didn't
think that's
agree
nice.
with it.
I think that's nice, though.
Okay,
Look at you
because I would,
making the sacrifices.
because you know what, I'd like to go back to pizza. If I had to choose, for instance, I'd choose New York over Chicago style. But that being said, there's the big, thick, bready Chicago style that you can keep. I don't need
Oh,
that.
man.
I don't need that.
I love
But
the bread.
when we were in Chicago about 5 years ago, and on my birthday, we went to this Chicago pizza place, and it came, and it was like a pie crust. It was like a literal crispy,
I don't like that.
flaky pie
That's-
crust.
that's
I
It
don't.
was
not
I don't mean
so
the
pizza.
ideas. I gotta correct you. So, yes, correct. There's Chicago style deep dish, which is like in a pie, and then there's Chicago style thin crust, which is like pie crust. What you don't want, the breadiness, is you don't want Detroit style pizza. That's what you meant, not Chicago style.
Well, I've been to Chicago Uno Pizzeria.
That's
and-
like in a pie.
That's a deep dish pizza. No,
But that's
yeah.
like a Chicago
And that's like
style,
the Chicago
in a pie.
big
so yeah,
bready.
there's like no, it's not. So a bready pizza like that, that's more pan, is a Detroit style.
Well,
pizza.
that's also a Sicilian style, by the way, and I don't really
Well,
care
maybe
for
there were
Sicilian
Sicilians in
style
Chicago.
either.
So, but Detroit style pizza
Or
is
Detroit.
like the but Chicago style pizza, when you say a
Anywhere.
Chicago style deep dish, is like when it's actually like it's like a pie in a pie crust.
The only Detroit style pizza that I've ever heard of is Domino's.
Ew. Domino's. That's hardly pizza.
Domino's
I'd eat it.
is
I don't like. I've
all of
tried
its
it late.
toppings. All of
no.
Domino's toppings taste exactly the same.
I don't know that I'd go again with.
I do not like
That feels far.
No,
Do you want peppers or do you want cheese? I can't tell the difference.
I'm.
I'll
That
go healthy.
Domino's-
Let's do
because
peppers.
Just covered it in peppers and it tastes the same as their
No,
cheese.
it's because it's so they're bland. It's bland toppings. They add
That is
texture,
true. It
but they're
does. It
very
does
bland
feel like it
toppings.
needs to be seasoned. So
Like,
does the
I would ra-
Walmart
I-
pizza you
yeah.
take home.
Yeah.
By the way, I think for me a key, like when I make my matzah pizza every Passover,
Yes, a connoisseur.
a key to a good cheese pizza
Mm.
is oregano.
Okay. Or
Sprinkle
Italian
oregano.
seasoning.
Oregano
on top.
is the key to good sauce. Good
so
cheese.
good.
It's very
Good
peppery,
cheese, I
though.
would say the key to a good cheese pizza is the cheese.
Do you feel like we've wasted the last several minutes of your life as you listen to this?
I know.
I think
right?
we've been we're now 20 minutes in.
Okay, well, we got a ways to go. Anyway, so the question was,
Yeah, we're done with that. What's the the food you would eat the rest of your life? Tacos and pizza.
yeah,
I think it's fair. I think they're well-rounded foods.
yeah. I have a question.
What's up?
Okay, my question is this. This is for Cosmo and Rivka. This is my question.
I feel like
There's
she's saying,
if
Antonio,
you-
don't answer the question.
Okay.
If you could turn one food that's like super unhealthy, that especially at our age or if you're dieting, you cannot eat. If you could turn one food like that into a healthy food, it could stay, so it stays exactly the same, only it's now considered healthy and your body likes it. I was going to say tacos.
It would have to be. It would have to
know.
for me. It would have to be pizza because like when I see
I
pizza,
can eat pizza all the
for,
time.
for me, like when I see pizza, trying not to have a minimum of 4 slices is difficult.
Yeah.
I love pizza. Like,
You know-
I
you know-
struggle to not see it as like.
So I
one
like to
serving.
get my pizza.
You're like, this is one pizza. It's one
It's-
serving.
well, okay.
Like
so
if I ate pizza, a whole pizza by myself, I wouldn't.
one of the
tell
big
anyone.
differences
Like,
between Rivka and I and the way we eat pizza, and is that all day long she will be happy to eat the crusts.
Yeah.
And I like a pizza that's cut in squares
Oh,
so that I can bypass.
that's crackers with cheese and sauce.
I can
on.
bu-
No, there's good
first of
square pizza. There's
I mean,
good
you can have thick square pizza.
I'm
too.
saying my perspective. I'm not saying that you don't think
I'm
that
saying
it's good.
cut it. I'm just talking about the shape that it's cut in.
Yeah, I
Because then I
know.
can bypass the crust. Like I save the crust till I'm out. Like I'm out of pizza and I'm like, okay, now I'll eat my crust.
Well, I would do that because I'm like, oh, okay, now I can eat my crust.
I love
like it's dessert.
Yeah.
I eat it like I'm still a little hungry and I'm out of my own pizza.
I love
So.
I love crust on pizza though. Like a good crust.
It's a handle.
It
No,
What?
good crust is being able to
you're-
really
if you have a
enjoy the
pizza
bread.
that has
Yeah.
bad bland crust.
okay.
If you
I
if you
agree.
have a pizza where you won't eat the crust on its own, then you have a bad.
You know,
pizza.
It's
I
not
have
that I
had-
won't eat the crust on its own. I'm saying I don't prefer. I prefer to just keep eating
You
the
say
crust
that,
that's
but, like,
covered
have
in
you
cheese
ever
and
eaten
sauce.
a breadstick?
If I have the choice
Uh-huh.
between pizza with the cheese and the sauce on it
Yeah.
and breadsticks, I'll let you take the
Sure.
breadsticks
I
all
will-
day.
I'll say
long.
this though. I'll say this, is that when you talk about because I know your argument is always, well, I want more pizza, don't want to waste the calories on the crust. But the
Yeah.
thing is, when you eat the pizza, you're also adding the sauce and cheese, so it's more calories than the crust would be.
It's okay.
Versus if you ate the crust and it rounded out how much pizza you ended up eating.
But now the whole thing
You
is
guys,
healthy.
I'm just
now
getting
the whole
hungry.
thing is
Sure.
healthy, and I don't need to bother
You don't
with
need
the
to think
crust.
about anything.
It's
Yeah.
just a handle.
I'm
now.
gonna go. I want now. Here, I've made all this food for dinner tonight. That's on the stove, and now all I want is pizza. I want a nice. You know, I've had terrible pizza crust though.
Yeah.
Where
I've had bad pizza crust, yeah.
and
for
I'm
sure.
like, and it wasn't even just that it was like bland or like cardboard, and it takes a lot of work to really screw up the taste of bread.
You just
like-
don't put enough salt or
Yeah,
sugar
add
in it.
salt.
That's what it is.
Man, it was. I remember being very much like,
There's
man.
like there's also pizza crust that I'll be like for instance like Barro's Pizza in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I find that their pizza is very it's a little too bready. Like it's really tough. It's tough pizza.
You find the bread tough.
No, it's like I prefer a New York style pizza.
Ah.
So that's
Okay.
like my preference.
See, I like New York style pizza, but then I also I like New York style pizza as in this is how New York does it, and I'm like that's my favorite. And then you come over here to a deep dish pan,
do love
lots,
the
and I'm
deep
like, oh, that's my favorite. There's just different kinds of pizzas.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably go to the
should.
next question.
All right, 25 minutes in.
All right.
All right.
We're spinning the wheel.
Spinning the wheel. Do 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 do.
At what time of day do you get your best work done?
Early.
Really?
Depends on the kind of work I'm doing. So I find like when I get up, like every morning I get up at 6 or 6:30, let the dogs out, and the house is quiet. It's still. I have no interruptions at all, and I can be highly productive in those hours. Once I start getting interrupted, now, once the day moves deep into the day, there are a lot of distractions. However, if we're doing things, organizational things, cleaning things, working in the house, I find that I'm later, like late in the evening or at night. That's when I do great. So it depends on the kind of work.
Well, I wouldn't know about myself early in the morning. I wish I
That's
was
when you
able
do your
to
dream
do that.
interpretations.
My dream
I'm
interpretation.
just saying. I'm just making stuff up.
What? That's
If your job was doing dream interpretation,
I would do them early in the morning.
because that's you're sleeping. See.
Yeah, but you don't interpret dreams while you're sleeping. You're the one having the dream.
It was a bad joke. People knew what I meant. Knew what I meant.
I think everybody was like, "Wait, what's he talking about?"
Yeah, they're like,
and
did he
like,
say the word rewind
like,
like an old man?
Yeah, they're like, "Thank God he has Rebecca." Okay. What were we saying again?
You don't wake up early.
Yeah, I don't. I wish I could, but that would mean I'd have to go to bed earlier because I require a certain amount of sleep every night, and I just can't. I'm like a toddler. I'm like fighting it, and I think it's because I just am not ready for tomorrow to come because the house is so nice and so quiet,
Right.
and I don't have to. I can just do whatever I want, or I can watch whatever I want on TV. I can read without being interrupted. I can be on my computer. I mean, just everything. It's just, and I know everyone's like safe and
That's
asleep.
the mornings. That's the mornings for me, and I don't. I'm never in a hurry to go wake everyone up. Like I'm like, oh, you can all keep sleeping. As soon as the kids like come out to work on their school, I'm like, all right, I got to go to a different room now. Or I put my AirPods in.
Yeah, I work best though. Like the more, like if I get to chill and relax in the morning and stuff like that, and when the kids are little, I would cuddle and just hang out with them. Or actually, once Antonio was born, he required food at 5 a.m.
Oh
but,
man, yeah,
but,
like now
I think I work better into the evening.
Traditionally, I think you were surprised by my answer early on because. Like, I remember when I was in school, like in college and grad school, like I would pull all-nighters. And sometimes I'd be doing stuff like her brother, Jonathan, and I would be in the same class or something, and we'd be studying. And then Jonathan was like, it'd be like 9 o'clock at night, and he'd be like, I'm tired. And he was going to go to bed. And he said, I'll just get up at 4 a.m. and work. And two things for me with that issue, was an issue, was that, first of all, the chances of me at that point getting up at 4 a.m. were remote. I can't trust myself. I couldn't trust myself to get up and work on it. And then, secondly, it reduced my time frame to my deadline. I needed to work as long as I could because I was running out of time. So I always pulled all-nighters. I would never trust myself to wake up early to do something when I had a deadline like that. So that's when we first got married. I was always a late night person, and I prefer to be I like to be late night and early morning, and would like to take a siesta at 2 p.m. That's the perfect.
You do take siestas.
I don't. I never do anymore. I would.
You don't take a 5-minute nap?
No, not these days. I really don't.
Wow, good for you.
Very rarely.
Antonio does.
Well, siestas are in many cultures considered very healthy.
They are. They're the cultures from which I originally
come from, or it actually is
again,
good for productivity to take a small break in the middle of the day.
If I find myself falling asleep in the middle of the day, I'm like,
no. I'm not talking about napping in the middle of the day. I'm talking about like taking a break, like a longer lunch break.
I don't ever feel good after a nap.
And then, it matters how long you nap. If you take if you take a nap and you wake up between 30 to 90 minutes, you are interrupting REM sleep, which is when your brain washes itself, and that's when you wake up with a headache. If you take a nap that is like around 10 to 20 minutes and you will wake up rejuvenated.
Yeah, the problem for mom is that I think
Emma can't do it.
I think I was going to say, I'm not trying to be gender specific, but I think women have a more difficult time. You know, it's traditionally, stereotypically, men, our heads hit the pillow and we're out.
That's
And
I go to sleep very fast
and
at night,
so-
and Emma has a hard
So
time going to bed.
so mom, if you talk about 10 minutes, mom's still not asleep in 10 minutes.
Oh,
Now so the key for me, I survived, school with cat naps, 15 to 20 minute naps. But yeah, if they go beyond 20 to 30 minutes, then it takes you to another level that you're.
Yeah. It's
So
harder
that's
to
why.
wake up. You get
But
headache.
I can't. But for me, I will not lay down fully horizontally. I have to stay tilted. If I stay kind of reclined, then I won't fall into that deepest sleep, but I'll get kind of refreshed. Because otherwise what'll happen is, I'm reading the same paragraph over and over, and I'm not comprehending.
Yeah, and I'll keep being like, ugh, because my eyes will be drooping, but I'll be staying awake. And
Yeah. I call it getting caught in a blink.
yeah.
huh.
And-
Well, I don't nap.
Right.
So, yeah.
I lay fully down. I love when I get those naps that are 10 minutes but feel like 2 hours. That's awesome.
Oh,
That
I've never in my
happens to me
life had
all
that.
the time, and it's awesome.
That's great.
The worst ones are the ones
Okay.
that are 2 hours that only feel like 10 minutes.
Oh, those are awful.
Okay. What's the next question?
All right, I'll spin.
Seriously, one of these times, I want to just watch him like get
I
up,
know.
put his hands above his head like a little,
And
and just.
pirouette.
All right. Final question is,
What's your favorite game
what
or
is a
show?
common myth about your job or field of expertise?
What?
What's a common myth? Common myth about our job is that we work one day a week.
Yeah, right?
I mean that's traditionally been like, well, you only work one day a week,
Common myth about our job is we get days off. I mean, you have to fight.
You have to claim that.
You have to say, and most people don't. Most people don't. It's like their day off, but then if somebody needs them, not that if someone didn't need us, but like we had to really early on be like, well, this is our family day, we would
Right.
call it. Or
Well, I think you have the thing that you always wrestle with in ministry. That's our job, obviously, and we have the same job. We just have different sides of that job. There are biblical expectations of a job, and there are cultural expectations of the job, and those things get mixed up sometimes. So the cultural expectation of what a pastor is, or what a pastor's wife or a rabbi and a rabbi's wife are, there are a lot of cultural things that, whether they're good or bad, aren't necessarily biblical demands, but people determine that you're good at this or you're not good on this based on you meeting certain cultural requirements. So that in some communities, it's not even about, is the pastor preaching and teaching the word with clarity. It's about, it's more about the, more of the, to an unhealthy degree sometimes, that it's his job to be
on call all the
all
time.
like that, rather than the like yes, there are the visiting the sick and the hospital calls and all those things, and that's all part of it, but that's also part of the whole body. The whole community is supposed to be functioning in that way, and a lot of times all those expectations get laid on the couple, on or what the pastor's wife, the expectations of the pastor's wife are often cultural, I think, versus
Sure.
biblical.
Yeah, I think what myths. I remember a lot of when we were younger and going into ministry. Now people don't. Well, maybe I head people off first, but like I'll say, by the way, it's not like this. I'm not sure, but when we were younger and our 20s and early 30s, I felt like a lot of people my age would be like, well, isn't it being like royalty? And me being like, no, like, why would you think that this, because I know in their minds it was this like glorified position, like your leadership or you're up there, when in reality, people, there's a reason there's a pastor's appreciation day or weekend or whatever. And it's because most of the year, people are not just unappreciative. You have those people in every ministry that kind of go out of their way to, or maybe not kind of, but like it's not necessarily intentional, but you have those individuals that are just challenging and not respecting of your time or your space or I mean, how many people over the years have complained about me, and
I can remember.
I'm just like, there's no way. I mean, I've had conversations with someone who's, I mean, nothing I did was ever like enough, because there's always somebody that doesn't like how you're doing it this way. So then you do it this way, and then they don't like how you're doing it that way. And then and it's very easy to say, especially early on, I was like, yeah, no, these are my boundaries and this is what I'm doing and da 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 da. But as time goes by, it's kind of like, it's just slowly
the criticisms leave their
begin
mark.
to they begin to weigh on you, and you're like, okay, all right,
They
well
chip
then maybe I
away.
should, and you get wiser, and so you think, well, maybe I should do things a little differently. I mean, like maybe having such a staunch black and white view of this, and then the next thing you know is you wake up one day, and this can happen to lots of people. I don't know that it happens to everybody, but you can wake up and you feel like that you made mistakes that you knew were mistakes when you started off in ministry that you said you were never going to make. And then, life takes over. There's not a lot of thought time. I remember when we were just, when we were in home missions, and we were basically doing what we're, in a similar way, doing what we're doing now, but we didn't have the internet. It was more like a lot of face-to-face stuff, a lot. And so I had the ability to like be home and be with my kids and all of that kind of stuff. But once we became like pastors again, it was Messianic congregation, so we were rabbi and rebbitzin. Our schedule was so incredibly packed, and we were having to do so many things. And it kind of feels a lot like right now, actually, we're doing so many things. That you don't realize what's happening when it's happening. You're just like, okay, now I got to finish this project, or now I got to finish this, or now I got to do that. And it's just, the next thing you know is you're like, oh my gosh, 10 years just flew by. And I didn't mean for that to happen when you see some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's always this challenge, right, between trying to balance it all out, because the desire to be excellent in every area, and for in terms of the teaching and preaching aspect is very time consuming. Relationally, the relational aspect is critical and time consuming and emotionally.
That is another thing. It's like being a therapist, but you don't have your well, it looks like our 1 hour is up, and they paid you for it.
Right, and
you don't get the privilege of either one of those things.
I mean, we're not therapists. There's no crossover. You don't get to
Right.
engage your therapist in their real life.
Well, and if you know where they live, and you
Yeah.
know their family members, and you know a lot, like your friends or whatever, it actually is a boundary crosser. Like it's unethical.
Well,
you have to have this separation, and we don't have that.
No, and I remember.
And I understand why we don't.
Yeah, of course not. I remember people actually telling me, well, when you're in ministry, you can't be friends with the people that you lead, and I still don't agree with that. I think I understand what they're saying, but I feel like you have to be in relationship with the people that to a degree.
Well, I think you can be in relationship with people and be in a friendship with people, but like how they used to say, there's your 3. And then there's your like 12.
Sure, yeah, you can't. Yeah,
you can't be buddies with everybody.
One of the things I remember one time, there was one day after a service that I went down, and when we were in the building, and I went and I greeted someone that I had seen a couple times, just had never gotten a chance to greet them. It was this older lady, and I went up to her, and she was a delight. Right out of the gate, she was like, "Well, this is my 3rd week here, and this is the first time you're talking to me." And I said, "Well," I said, "Hey, I'm really sorry about that." I said, it certainly hasn't been intentional, and she says, and something like, well, and your wife hasn't come and talked to me yet either. And I said, well, I'll tell you this. I said, I have two choices when I come off the platform. When I come off the platform, people engage me. Someone will come to me and they'll talk to me. And I have two choices. I can either fully engage the person I'm talking to, or just give them a quick answer and then kind of walk around shaking hands, kind of politically glad-handing everyone. And I've made a decision that I'm going to be accessible and I'm going to be available, and the person I'm talking to is the person that I'm talking to. And then but the next person, but I'm available. I said, I said, if you watch, I said, as soon as service is over, people are coming to my wife, and I said, and my wife is giving them her full attention. Did she seek you out? No. But if you ever need to talk to either of us, we're available. We're here. We just can't guarantee that. So that's the choice. The choice is, do I go around just making everyone feel like they're important? Because I shake everyone's hand and do the political thing. And I guess some people would say there's some leadership wisdom to that, I suppose. I'm certainly not trying to be unfriendly, but I also want to be fully engaged with the person that I'm talking with.
But the thing is that I was always available.
Yeah.
As much as I could be. And people
but
were constantly
only so much of you to go
right.
around.
There's only so much of me. And I remember, for several years I ran the children's ministry. And so I was writing my own curriculum. I was putting it all together. I was doing my own crafts, like everything. And we had a really good sized children's ministry. It was going really well. And so I was working so hard at that and everything. And I remember someone once said to me, people wonder, where's the Rebbitzin? And is the rabbi even married? And I couldn't get anyone to help me with the children's ministry for the most part. There were the same 4 people, and no one else would step up, no matter how many times we asked, no matter what. People just weren't interested. It was their day for them to be able to focus on themselves, And so I remember this person be like, people ask where is she? And during that time, I was with all the children, and I'm making sure their parents are picking them up and making sure everything's going properly legally. And I'm over that whole other ministry. So I had to be back there. And so I was like, well, I'm happy to show my face and be out there in the main service. Would you like to help me? Would you like to sit back or would you like to come in the children's ministry and help me? And the person was like, oh, well, no. I'm like, right. That's not my gifting. Right. So, you can only be so many places, and you feel bad. It's not like we're sociopaths where we're, sociopaths don't have emotion.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's not like we're sociopaths where we're just like, yeah, whatever, too bad for you. I felt bad about everybody that's part of the weight, is because you feel bad because you're letting this person down and this person down and this person down. But you're working so hard.
Well, this is to me what's a critical key, though, is that we have to always just keep our focus on that everything that I'm doing it unto the Lord, and that we go to Him and we say, are you pleased? Are you pleased with what I'm doing? Are you pleased? And to have ears to hear the corrective, and when there's a corrective, but the affirmation when there's an affirmation. And to not be driven, not be driven by the whims of just people or the criticisms, because there'll always be a critic. And what will happen is you end up giving all of your energy to the squeaky wheel rather than saying, Lord, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to engage my energies? There's only so much to go around, because you can end up emptying yourself. If you're doing it for people, you'll end up emptying yourself, and then as soon as you don't meet a particular expectation, they're gone. And then so it's about being faithful to the Lord. Anyway, I think there are a lot of myths associated with what it is to be a pastor and what it is to be in ministry, and it certainly isn't about just because you're you're visible. Like when you said people think it's like royalty. Well, certainly it's not. It's about other than you're intended to serve.
It's like I know whenever I go to a restaurant, like I know I don't ever want to be the server or the cook in the kitchen. I like being the person who's being waited on. Maybe that's because I know what it is to be the server and the cook in the kitchen.
It's not. It's certainly not. But there is this feeling like this. We like back to what you said about you like where Yeshua had his 3 and his 12 and so forth. There's only there at times is this feeling like because you're the face of a particular ministry. I can only say most of my life I was never in the cool crowd, other than when I was in elementary school. But people tend to have this feeling like those who are serving alongside you in leadership are visible and they're this cool crowd, and then so everyone wants to get into, for lack of a better word, your inner circle. The problem is by its very definition, an inner circle can't be everyone, and it has nothing to do with. So can you have people that are close to you without other people feeling excluded or like you're picking favorites, or that you don't like them? How do you manage that? And you feel, because you love the people to the best of your ability that the Lord has called you to serve, and yet you can't. There's only so much of us to go around, and so what the Lord calls all of us to do is to be a people, each of us to have concentric circles around us of those that are closest to us, but that we're serving, not just looking to be served. I don't know if that makes any sense, but okay. I think
that answers the question.
I think
That's why it takes a real calling if you're going to actually like be in the kind of leadership that where you're engaging people regularly and they're for people and all of that, because it does. Yeah. And especially when you're the lead pastor, everyone should have empathy for their lead pastors, because I've been the youth pastor. I've been all the other things, but the weight that a senior pastor has, that they carry, the mantle that they carry, is exceptionally heavy. And it's not something that typically they would put aside lightly, like, well, or I'm just going to do this. Like it's a mantle that the Lord puts on them.
Yeah.
So.
But thankfully he's given us pizza and tacos.
That's right.
And
speaking of, I have food on the stove that I got to go check on.
And everyone's got to Google that, Germany.
Oh yeah, man. Look it up.
So.
Enjoy.
All right, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy your latkes, spin some dreidels, and
mazel mazel.
Mazel mazel. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.